Hey, welcome to another episode of the I Must Ask You a Question show. I'm Tim Nichols with 3 Million%, and we are a peer advisory program that helps business owners, entrepreneurs, and professionals learn from each other as we share our victories, challenges, and experiences. And I'm going to toss it over to Jim Bardwell, who is going to tell about what he does.
Well, hello, everybody. Again, my pleasure to be coming to you on our show here this afternoon. So I am the Executive Director for Sales, Marketing, and Education for a company called Fiber Protector America. And Fiber Protector is the world's most advanced, technologically advanced protection system. And it's also eco-friendly. We're very proud of that. We're very proud of what we refer to as our green Norwegian roots, Tim. We have green Norwegian roots.
Well, you know what? Considering what you do and considering how clean everyone is wanting to be right now, I bet referrals are really important right now. And that's what we're going to talk about today is how to give great referrals. Jim, what is exactly a good referral?
Well, it's like that old thing where someone will ask you, they'll say, man, I went to this restaurant and I was trying to decide whether I was going to eat that cheesecake or not. I didn't know if it was good for me or not. Oh, yeah. No, you can kid yourself all you want to. When it comes to giving a good referral, you know what a good referral is because you know what kind of referral you want. You don't want a light referral, a referral that's in name only. No, you want it to be a referral that's going to provide you with an opportunity to help that person, to provide them with a service that they need. So what is a good referral? Well, again, I think most people, if they even just reflect on it a moment, what kind of referral are they looking for? And if you would be happy to receive it, then guess what, Tim? It's a good referral.
That is accurate. Hey, real quick, let's say hi to Reggie Wiley, who's joining us from Forney, Texas today, and Heather Nichols. She said she likes contact-free referrals.
Contact-free referrals. Well, I tell you, that's a very apropos thing right about now, right? We don't want to contact anybody.
That's right. That's right. And so, of course, you want the contacts, I guess. Oh, and Nicole Southall is joining us. Hello, Nicole. Glad to have you on the show with us today.
Hi there, everybody. All right.
So let's look at, I would say, the difference between, we know what we like, right? But I think a lot of times people get caught up in giving cold leads and think that's a referral. Like if you were to go to some of these networking groups that like measure how many referrals you're giving and stuff like that. Is that kind of what a lot of people want, or what do you think on that?
No, absolutely not. Completely the opposite of that. And again, that's why I've never been a big fan of what I refer to as box checking referrals, right? And a box checking referral is, when you're filling out a form and you've got to check all the boxes to get through to it. Tim, let's be honest. Does everybody read every one of those paragraphs on the form? No. Go down the line. And sometimes you check off and you realize you just donated your big toe. You just go through there and you check those things off. You're not paying attention. And so often in those networking groups, giving a referral is just a check off. It's just, I did it. I accomplished what I had to do. Some of them require you to give 3. Every meeting, you have to come up with 3. And so let's be honest. I've seen people do this. I've seen people filling out those referral cards in their car in the parking lot before the meeting.
Right.
It's not how you're supposed to do that. How can that be a good referral when you're doing it by memory in your car on the steering wheel, right? You're supposed to have met someone and in conversation, they said, hey, I need a financial advisor. And you went, I've got a fantastic one. Hold on one moment. You're supposed to take the card out and fill it out right there with them, right? So that's what I'm adamantly against that. No, a referral is the opposite of that. It is not a check-off referral.
Well, in the words of I'm going to say the words of Zig Ziglar. Sales is a transference of trust, really. And if you want to back that up and turn that into something worth having, right? Because I think the kind of referrals that we just talked about can actually hurt your credibility, right? If you were out there filling out checking a box, if you were checking a box, I think that could actually hurt your credibility. And so something I always tried to do was to transfer even honor in how I gave referrals, right? And so I would edify that person that I was trying to refer to by honoring the person I was referring from, right? And so, like in an email or something like that, I might say, hello, or even an email introduction, something like that. I would take and why I considered one person, introduce them, tell why they were credible to me, and introduce the other person as to why they were credible to me. And then say, I thought you both should know one another because this fact of something in common that could create either a referral stream or a revenue stream, not a one-off transaction. I was looking for the depth to create like this, a deep, long-lasting relationship out of that as opposed to a transaction. Thoughts on that?
Absolutely, Tim. And it's kind of like this. So imagine your friend came to you and said, hey, I'm hungry right now. Like right now, I'm hungry. Do you know any place around here I can get a taco? And you would say, yes, right there on the corner, a little taco stand, a little taco shop. They got a little special. You get 3 tacos for $1. Go right there. You get you some tacos.
Right.
And that, some people say, well, that's a referral. No, that's not really a referral. That's almost like you're just kind of being Googled, right? You're just they asked you a question, you gave them an answer. What I would consider a referral is a friend of yours came to you and said, listen, I have the need to make a relationship with a caterer that will provide food for a function that I have coming up on the 14th. And I need to feed 50 people, and I want it to be quality. I want to make sure that these people have all the licensings in place and they have passed their health inspection. See, if you can refer somebody to something like that, that is a referral. That is building a relationship that's going to transcend just the immediate need. And so flip that around and think about that. Is this person asking me for a taco right now? Or are they asking me, I have a need that needs to be met at a deep level? And usually in business, that's what people are asking you. You might think they just want a quick taco, but really get to know their need and have it explained to them. I know in business that, it's usually easy to find a taco. It's a lot trickier to find somebody that could cater an event, right? So
Right.
That's helped me out a lot. I'm not in a position just to refer something, one off. That's kind of what you were talking about, like a one-off deal. That's really not a good referral.
Yeah, to me either. And real quick, we've got actually several on the call that do give great referrals. And of course, Heather Nichols was saying transference of feelings equals sales. So thank you for that. She said she liked introducing network to network. By the way, glad to have you, Johnny Kirkpatrick. And Heather said she needed a taco right now. But some are saying, hey, you know what? I don't need a Yellow Pages ad. And so I agree with that in that that's not necessarily ideal. Let me get back over here. So why is it important? I think we kind of covered the importance of that. For my own credibility's sake, is for how I built 3 Million% and how I built my practice as a financial advisor. One thing I wanted to do to try to increase my own influence and my own credibility was to refer high-level revenue streams to high-level revenue streams, and think bigger than the transaction, right? To think maybe 10 to 20 transactions down the road are these people that I think could have a long-lasting business together. And that's That's really what I've looked for, and really we try to do that within the peer advisory groups. In your training, I mean, how are you training on that?
Well, why is it important to me, or why is it important to people that I have in my groups? Because just like you said earlier, when you give out a referral, when you put your name on the line, right? There's a lot riding on that, and
Yeah.
so if you're giving a good referral, if you're referring somebody, make sure you've done your homework. Again, I don't want people to think we're beating up on these other groups, right? These other, because we keep mentioning some functionary, the way those groups built and they function, and I think they are very valid and they do work. But the challenge with that again is, man, sometimes that old saying that quality over quantity. Maybe you don't need to give out 20 referrals a day, because I like what Cole said about there's a difference between referrals and recommendations. You might recommend someone, but if you're really going to refer somebody, if you're really going to sit down and say, I've used this product. It's just like on radio. You ever notice on radio, you'll have a local celebrity, maybe they're in a Dallas area, he might be a sports figure or somebody that people would recognize the name, and he will say, I have actually used these people. I've used this AC company in my own home, and they did a great job. You see, that's a referral. That's somebody saying that you can trust me, right? And so, Tim, if I'm going to refer somebody, usually I've used them. Usually I've used them at the very least. I know them well enough. Maybe they're a mechanic that works on Mercedes, and I don't own a Mercedes, right? But I certainly know them well enough that if I did, they would work on my Mercedes.
Yeah, there has to be this experiential knowledge to it, I think. Now, Nate Ortiz is asking us, how do you handle it when you think two people would greatly benefit from meeting each other, but aren't sure if one or both of them are completely open to it? Although it may be a great connection, they may not have the time, energy, or availability to make a blind connection.
Okay, so let me unbox this a little bit. That's a lot there. Great question, Nate. Man, whoo, that's a big question. All right. How do we handle it when you think two would greatly benefit? Okay, completely open to it. Okay, so you're basically want to bring two people together, make a connection. You know these two individuals well enough that you see a benefit of them knowing each other. Yeah. I guess the first thing I would do, if they were in the room at the same time, that'd be a little something that you need to work out faster. But the first thing I would do is just go to one of them and say, hey, I know this person. I think you guys would benefit. I do that sort of thing all the time, Tim. In the position I'm in, I'm presented with all kinds of opportunities. We just had that happen. I knew somebody that I thought would benefit from knowing you, and I said, hey, you guys need to meet each other, right? And it worked out fantastic. I usually, again, will touch base with each person and confirm that they are open to that, right? I think maybe that's what Nathan is asking. Should you touch base with them and confirm that they're open to that?
Well, I think that's what he was asking about. What's the best approach on that end of it? Now, I think in these terms. I guess I've trained myself to think in these terms of how can I help them? Because I'm trying to apply that Ziegler quote, you can have everything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. Well, a lot of times they don't even know to ask you for a referral, right? They don't even know what they need. And so I have learned what these other businesses need and want. And so as they're talking, I'm scrolling mentally, just like how to connect, right? And pretty soon the peg hits and I'm like, that's who they need to know. And so I'll ask if they're open to it. But then on the other one, I think because I've tried to make clear that I'm always trying to help others grow. When they do get a referral from me, they know that it has nothing to do with me. right? I don't have something to be gained necessarily transactionally or anything like that from it. I'm trying to make, well, really a leveraged network type of a referral where you got two major revenue streams that could possibly happen. And so if not for one or the other. And so I'll even make that introduction to even so why I made that introduction, even if even if they were just barely open to it. I'll let them make that call as to why, but or as to if they want to make the time. But I'm going to give them a good why as to why I was putting them together.
So why do people have us in their circle? Why would somebody want Jim Bardwell or Tim to be in their circle? And I try to make myself into what I refer to as a Swiss Army knife. Okay. You know, you can go camping with a little pocket knife, and that means if you need to cut something, you'll be all set. But they have these things called Swiss Army knives, Tim. And Swiss Army knives have everything, depending on how big you want to get it. They have everything from a spoon to a fork to a knife to a scissors to a saw to a toothpick, right? All those things. So that little pocket knife is much more valuable than a standard pocket knife, right?
Right.
It takes up about the same space, but it does so many more things. And so what I like to do is make sure people know about that ahead of time. You know, back to Nathan's question. When I get to know people, I might tell them, say, listen, I'm a connector. I might know somebody who needs to know you. Is it okay if I give your information out? I go and ask them that up front as I'm getting to know them. Then I don't have to circle back around. If somebody calls them out of the blue and says, hey, I was given your information about Jim Bardwell. Tim, if somebody calls you up and says, hey, Jim Bardwell thought that you and I need to get to know each other, that's a done deal, right? You're all. That's all you need to hear.
There's implied credibility in that.
That's right. That's right.
Well, and that's Haley Cotty was asking, what do you do when you refer someone and the transaction does not go well?
Well, again, it's so much better. It's so much better. My old grandfather, again, it seems like every one of these calls, I go back to one of my grandfather's sayings, right? Well, one of them was this, Tim. You can take a 5-word sentence and say it on the beginning of a relationship, or you can take the same 5-word sentence and put it at the end of the relationship, and it makes them two different things. On the beginning of the relationship, it's called information or education. On the tail end, same 5-word sentence. On the tail end, it's called an excuse. So if you find yourself in a situation that you've given out some referrals and they didn't go well, then you need to back up to the front part of the relationship and say, just like as someone had pointed out earlier, do I know their product, good, and service? Am I referring a product, good, and service that perhaps they don't need, right? The other thing you're saying, man, they didn't go well. Well, maybe that is something that you do need to find out. Why didn't it go well? Because if you referred their service to somebody, both of those people are in your circle. Now, it happens. Some people, not every single human being on this planet is going to get along, right, Tim? It's impossible, right? But if you know this person, they're a good person. They got a good company. They got a good. Got good integrity. They're a good person. Same thing over here. If they didn't work out, right, then it might be a one-off. It might be a one-off, and I don't know that I'd get that crazy about it. But the second time it happened, right? Number 2. I would definitely need to pay attention to that, Haley. I need to say get involved in it. If I'm giving it the referral, I have all the rights in the world to be involved in it from start to end. Don't you agree, Tim? I mean, start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I have the right to check up on it. I have the right to call it after a week goes by. I should call and say, hey, Tim, how's that deal going there with my friend down in Dallas, Amy? Is everything working out good? Is she you guys getting, and I'm going to ask the same thing of her, Tim, you know?
Yep. I love the accountability in that. To me, that's important to check on both sides to make sure. I mean, because that's your credibility at stake, right?
That's right. That's right. And again, I'm going to make sure if I'm referring somebody that I have a good enough relationship with them. Say I referred somebody and then that person called up and said, hey, it didn't go well. I'll say, you know what? Wait a second. Can you tell me from your side of things, what do you mean it didn't go well? Tell me the whole story. And I'm going to listen to that story. And Tim, if that sounds completely unlike that person I know, it just sounds completely strange, then I'm going to say, you know what? That sounds strange. I've never known that to happen before. Let me get involved. I'm going to make a phone call for you on your behalf, and let's figure out what went wrong, right?
That's right.
Now, sometimes, Tim, let's be honest, sometimes there are certain parts of who we are that might not, someone might call up somebody and say, man, you referred Jim Bardwell and all that was fine and daddy and everything, but man, that guy, he about talked my ear off. Well, I like to talk. I do like to talk. And so hopefully.
They could be talking about either one of us, right?
Yeah, that's Jim. That's Jim. That's Jim. Sometimes we talk a bit, but yeah. Now, if they call him up and say, hey, you referred that Jim Bardwell, and dadgummit, he asked me if he could borrow $100, and I sent it to him, and he ain't calling me back. Well, see, that's out of character for me. And you need to get involved in that. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe in checking on that. And of course, a lot of that has to do with your depth of relationship that you have possibly before. Let's see. I think Nicole had explained or had said something about explaining the benefits of knowing each other and why you think it's a great fit. And of course, that kind of leads to, let's see, because you care about them. So Heather talked about you care about people first, and you both lead with a listening ear. I think that's important too. But yeah, I believe in the checking up on things, checking up on just kind of how that's going. And I've done that. And of course, sometimes it's years in the making before anything ever happens. And so I say, have to be patient on that, because sometimes I don't want to be portrayed as selling the deal. Right. Like I've got something to be gained. To me, it's just, hey, I'm trying to help you, and I'm trying to help you as best I can.
That's right. That's right. Okay. Well, that's a great question that someone just put there. Is that my screen is not showing the whole name there.
So here you go, Nicole.
Okay. There it is.
I love
Nicole,
I love connecting with people. And when I do, we usually hit it off good. But how do you continue to keep that connection going? Some just don't respond after attempts. Any suggestions?
So a very good friend of mine, many years ago, wrote a book, and the name of that book is Be a Person of Interest. Okay? How to be a person of interest. And people, I tell you, the one thing that people are not very, 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 they don't like to spend easy is their time. And rightly so. All the money you make in the world, you won't be able to buy more time. You will not be able to change that clock that's ticking every day away, right? And so I don't take offense when people are a bit guarded with the most precious thing they have in their possession, which is their time. Okay? I need to create a buy. I need to create a buy that makes them say, hey, not only do I want to invest money with them, not only do I want to invest, gold with them, but I would like to invest my time with them. So what are we doing with our businesses to make them interesting? What are they doing with our business? What are we doing with our business to make them useful? I mean, you guys understand that I actually have nothing to do with the manufacturing of my product. I don't even know how they manufacture it. It's somewhere in Chicago. I know that. That's a big city, though, isn't it? Guess what? I couldn't take you to the warehouse. I don't even know where it's at, Tim. You know what my job at Fire Protector America is? Is to add value to this organization, to make this organization more important than just a jug of product. You see, if that's all we did, if we just sold this product by the jug on the shelf, then this company wouldn't be what it is. Nicole, the very reason I exist in this organization is to make it interesting, to make it more dimensional, to make it deeper. And so when we're reaching out to people and saying, hey, I sell paper clips. If you need paper clips, call me. And they might like you. They might say, man, that's the nicest paper clip salesperson I've ever met in my life. But let me let you know a little secret. Once they bought a box of paper clips from you, why are they going to call you back? I mean, unless they're going to call you when they need more paper clips, correct? But what if you said, hey, I sell paper clips, and if you need paper clips, call me. But another thing our organization does is we're part of this great group called 3 million%. And here's a bunch of other reasons there is to get to know my organization. And that's really my philosophy in any product, good or service I've ever represented in my life. We've got to be a person of interest. Our companies, our organizations, our businesses need to be interesting. They need to be multidimensional. They need to have points that can carry us past just the thing we do. Tim, you are quite possibly the most interesting financial advisor I've ever met in my life. I've known quite a few financial advisors, and they do not look like you. They do not talk like you. They do not dress like you. They do not do anything like you do.
And just to be clear, everybody, I sold my practice last year, so I'm not active right now. So just to make that clear. And I appreciate you saying that. But, that's one thing that I've done is set myself apart that way. But, back to what Nicole's asking is as far as, you want to be interesting. And to me, it's that speed of trust. How fast can you deepen that trust in order to retain that relationship, in order to make them respond, not because they have to, but because they want to, right? And of course, you're saying interesting. What I'm saying is, or you're saying value too, bringing value. And one thing, here's why 3 million% came to be. I needed to take the conversation away from the sales conversation. I did not need them to think that I was profiling them or that I was asking them for an order or something like that. I didn't want to have these conversations every time I saw them. How's your IRA doing? Where's your, did you leave your job? Have you rolled over your 401k yet? I didn't want to have those conversations every time I saw them, because every time you do that, that next layer of wall starts going up, right? And they build this wall of distrust, right? It discredits you. And so I needed to change the conversation. And the one thing that we had in common is we both wanted to grow. We both wanted to grow our businesses. So it became, how do I help you better grow your business? And so that became increasingly effective, still effective to this date. But Nicole, to answer your question, I would take that conversation and convert it to something else where you can kind of work side by side instead of being a transactional type deal. You want to make it where you're moving together towards a common goal. And about several attempts, some of the best coaching I got was allow them to self-sort. Okay. Let them filter themselves. If they don't like you enough to respond to your attempts, then I would say you probably don't want them as a client either, or a customer, right? Because they're going to do that same stuff when you get them as a client or customer. And so then they become hard to get in touch with. So, all right, we got other questions here. We've got Nate Munson. Investing personal time in that business or person has helped create relationships that lead to yes, as referrals. And I thought there was a question here. Trust that you're interested in more than just their business, and because of that, they're willing to give more of their own effort and moxie to you also. That I agree with that. That is an accurate statement.
And again, like to your point, though, you have got to be confident. You've got to believe in yourself to the point that you've got your offer dialed down and your filters are working.
Yeah.
Why do we do that, Tim? Why do we put filters in place to screen, to make sure that we're concentrating on those that are in a position to benefit from our relationship? We put those filters in place, and then we get upset when they work. We get upset when they work, right? I will give one little piece of advice that I learned a long time ago is there was a salesman whose job it was to convince children that they needed to get excited about eating a treat that really didn't taste all that hot. It wasn't that good. It wasn't chocolate. It didn't have any fruit flavor in it. And it often was stale by the time the kid got it. Okay? And that product was called Cracker Jacks. Let's be honest with ourselves, right? Is Cracker Jacks really that good? It's stale popcorn with peanuts that taste funny. I mean, come on, guys. The peanuts in Cracker Jacks has a funny aftertaste. Have you ever noticed that? So it's not a fantastic candy. If I got a choice between Cracker Jacks and a Snicker bar, I'm going Snicker bar every time, okay? So what did they do? What did that salesman figure out? Well, we all know what he did. What did he do, Tim? He stuck a toy in it.
Yep.
He put a toy in the Cracker Jacks. And so what I try and do with myself and my company is, what is my toy? What toy am I putting in my Cracker Jacks, right? How am I creating something? And what does this have to do with referrals? Everything. People are going to refer something that's got a toy in it every single time. So to get back to her, that was a very good question. How do I keep that going? How do I keep that momentum going? You know, gotta think about that. What is it? What am I putting in my Cracker Jack that's going to make a kid say, you know what? I'll even overlook the stale peanuts. I'll overlook the stale popcorn because I want the toy. Okay, so what is the most impactful way to give a great referral? You lead with that one, Tim. You lead with that one, brother.
Well, let me back up to what you just said, and this is regarding Nicole. I know Nicole, and I know that she's an artist and an artist as well. And Nicole, what I did is I started creating my own greeting cards too, with my own artwork, and sending that to those people that I just met. Right. So let me tell that to everybody. If you have some unique value that you could add, and for some, I mean, there's people that have written books about sending out handwritten thank you cards after you meet people and stuff like that, you know, in the car sales industry and all that stuff. I think there's important value in personalizing that trust somehow, giving something tangible for them to, I don't know, it's like an anchor. It's like an anchor to that trust. Right. And so, I've got my own line of greeting cards that I drew myself, you know, and I use those for me. I don't sell them. I give those to people who have done stuff with me. Right. And so there's got to be that some tangible thing that says, hey, I trust you. I respect you. I honor you, and I edify you by what I'm giving you. Excuse me. Now, impactful way to give a great referral. You know, something that I just learned today. My wife uses this product called Dub Video, and it's a way to send a video through. And my wife is Heather Nichols, who's been on here a few times, but she's a marketing strategist, and she uses video even in emails to make introductions. So instead of a worded email that nobody wants to read anyway, especially since we're living in a quarantined COVID world, right? And there's a lot of words being thrown around out there, right? Not enough video, too many words. And so she started videoing herself making this introduction, but saying why each was important, and then telling why their relationship would be important for them to meet one another. But again, that's video, and they can see the micro expressions in her face to determine her authenticity. So it doesn't have the appearance of I'm checking a box to get points at a networking group. You see what I'm saying? So to me, that would be an impactful way to give a referral, to give a great referral, because that elevates her profile. That makes her very visible and memorable to them, and they accept that implied trust.
Well, I'm glad you cleared that up, because I was thinking that Heather Nichols lady had a husband that looked a lot like you.
Yeah. Well, hey, I figure we got listeners all over the place. So,
No, that's fantastic. And again, the impactful way to give a great referral. Just the same way you give anything. If you really want to make it seem important, then treat it as though it's important. Make it something that you spend some time on, that you do your homework, you do your research. Again, I have been the beneficiary of this. I've been in groups of people where someone has crossed the room, hand in hand, drug that person across the room, and did a formal introduction between the two of us.
those are the best kind.
Those are wonderful. Well, again, we're living in a world where it might be a while before we're going to be able to do a lot of that. Okay. So what a wonderful, wonderful idea. Heather, what a wonderful idea. Imagine for a moment if Tim and I did a video together where I said, hey, everybody, I want to introduce you to my friend, Tim Nichols. This is what Tim's 3 million% can do for you. Tim, brother, tell them a little bit about yourself and what you think it could do. If we did a 30-second quick little video and I had that saved on my desktop, saved into my phone, and someone said, hey, I have a need for X, Y, and Z, and I thought, well, wait a minute, they need to get involved in 3 million%. How powerful would that be to zap them that video? That is technically taking the place of dragging Tim across the room and hand and say, Tim, you got to meet this guy.
So to clarify what you're saying is to have a pre-recorded video introduction that you could send out to whoever you think of whenever you're in that conversation at the moment. Right?
Yes.
That is a wonderful idea. That's why I love partnering with you, Jim.
Good. So imagine the next time the 3 million%ers get together. What if they said, okay, on such and such a day, dress up nice, ladies, if you want to put your war paint on, put it on, comb your hair, men, get a haircut, whatever you need to do, because we're going to set up a little screen and we're going to set up a camera with a circle light, and we're going to record personal referrals, 30-second referrals with each other. And here is my friend. Guys, this is Heather Nichols. She is something else. Let me tell you, if you guys need anything to do with social media, with video marketing, whatever it would be, Heather, tell them a little bit about yourself. Boom. And again, keep it small so that you can send it on your phone. If you do a 3-minute video, you can't text that on your phone. You can, but if you keep it under 30 seconds, just a quick little snippet, and you just had all those saved on your phone, a separate little video folder, all my referral partners, right? I don't know. We might be onto something. I think that'd be pretty powerful, Tim.
I love that. That's thinking outside the box. I like that. And actually, in the comments, I saw where Heather included her. Where'd it go? Okay, there's the personalized introduction video emails she talked about. And Johnny Kirkpatrick said also in that type of a video, you could explain what they do better than you could, I guess, or maybe a gap they could fill. But I think you almost have to leave it somewhat broad so that you could make that, maybe you could talk about what they do well, the best thing that they could do for you. So you might have to focus on, if you're just recording some to have sent out, you can make it where, hey, I know Jim's one of the top trainers in the world, and he can really help you with sales and marketing and mindset. So, I mean, it's one of those things where we want to go with the strengths so that we can distribute that video to more people is what I'm getting at. Isn't that how you see it, Jim?
Absolutely. But listen, it's important. I think that you both should be in the video, because if you just walk around the room and just say, Heather, real quick, talk to the camera. What do you do? and I record that. And if someone needs what Heather does, and I send that to her, you know what they're going to think that is? That's just a canned speech. That's just a canned. She just did that. That's just a canned deal. That's not special and unique to me. But if you and I were arm in arm together, shoulder to shoulder, and holding that camera out there and said, "Hey, everybody, it's my friend Tim Nichols. Man, if you are interested in building a fantastic network in your local town, you need to get to know Tim with 3 million %. Tim, tell them about it real quick. Keep it under 30 seconds and make it both of you in the video." You see, now that's like walking around with a modern equivalent of a letter of introduction from the king, right? That's like walking around with a modern, in the good old days, a letter of introduction was real. It was a letter that had the king's seal on it in wax. And when you went into a city that nobody knew you, they knew the king, right? And you would just show them that letter and you immediately got clout. And so if I'm going to send that to my friends, I want to be in the video so they know that it is a personal referral.
I love that. And really, because it's hard to, like we've got people that are in Pennsylvania and Connecticut and all over. I know you're in Tennessee, Jim. But some of these states have differing rules where they're still harder core on lockdown, right?
Yep.
And so you might have to use Zoom or something along those lines to make that happen, where you could have a side-by-side type of a video for those that can't meet in person. But I do recommend, I love that idea, Jim. That's great.
Well, I tell you, I happen to have it on good information that you have at your disposal someone who is very well versed in all this modern technology and way of doing things. And I bet you, Miss Heather, and you can figure that out, Tim. And imagine if you guys figure it out and then you just offer it to your 3 million % people, say, hey, here's a format that works, screen and screen, 2 little boxes. All you have to do is sit in front of your computers or your phone for 30 seconds. Boom.
That's right. That's right. I don't know if you saw, I put up Heather's last comment, hashtag something else.
There you go. Something else.
Yeah. But anyway, so really, wow, we've really covered great ways to have impactful, great referrals. Any other questions that we could ask or we could answer for you? We've had great questions so far.
Yeah, really fantastic participation. Let's see. I'm hearing the request. Message received. There you go. That's right. Well, Tim, I think that something that has always served me well when thinking about how to give a good referral is I've always been a connector. I didn't know what that word meant even before I even heard that word. I remember when I was a kid in school, I just did that. I would meet somebody and say, man, you know what? I got somebody I need to introduce you to. You ever met somebody like that, Tim? They were always saying that sentence. You know what? I've got a friend of mine. You need to get to know him, right?
I know a guy.
Yeah, I know a guy, right? That line from that movie Goodfellas, you need to get to know. He's a good fella. He's a good fella, right? Well, I think there's something deep there. I think there's something inherent to us as human beings that it's just something we want to do. We want to connect people. We want to introduce other human beings to other human beings, especially when we find value in them. See, Tim, as I got to know you and I saw the value in you and it was almost became like I'm proud to introduce you to people, right? It does me. I think to myself, this makes me look good in front of them, and that is a give and a take. You want to be that person. You want to create such value about yourself that people want to refer you. And then on the same token, you want to surround yourself, going back to that statement earlier that someone made about, oh man, when a referral doesn't work out, when it crashes, well, you want to surround yourself with people that you would love to refer to others. Okay, Nate's got another one.
Yep. This is different, Nate, by the way, Nate Munson. So most of our customers don't think this way or aren't comfortable giving referrals. How do you help encourage your customers to help connect you with new prospects?
Well, again, you got to understand, Nate, that everybody is basing their decisions on their conditioning. And their conditioning, man, that's a lot of different things. You know, there's a social, economical, and geographical background. Where were they raised? Who were they raised around? What were their life experiences up until that point, especially when they were younger, okay? And in most cases, people can tell you a story about a negative story about a salesperson faster than they can tell you a positive one. And that's sad, but that's the truth, Tim, okay? And so what they're doing is they are protecting their friends. They're protecting their colleagues. They don't want to have them deal, you know, they don't want to give their email address out, because they give their email address out, some salesman's going to send them an email and try and sell them something, right? And so, again, my business is 1,000%. Tim, we do not advertise. We do not run yellow page ads. We don't run magazine ads. We don't have TV commercials. We don't do any of that. Our social media presence is pretty small. We are 1,000% reliant upon referrals. And so again, every day when I wake up, I think, what can I do about my goods and services that make them valuable to make people overcome that social conditioning? Nate, people have been social conditioned not to do what you're saying there. We have to be open about that, Tim. Think about that. Most people are socially conditioned to not do that. They do not want to give out their friend's name. They do not want to give out their relative's name, right? So what can we do to make ourselves so attractive that we don't even have to ask? Think about that for a moment. What am I doing? How am I presenting my goods and services so that at the end of that presentation, I'm not asking for a referral. I'm answering the request for a referral. You get me? I'm actually getting to the point where someone says, "Man, this has been great. I've learned a lot about you. How do I get my friend? How do my friends find out about you, Tim? How does my Aunt Gertrude get to know Tim Nichols? How does that work? What can we do? Is there a way that we can do that?" Right? So, and I know what everybody's thinking. Man, Jim, it sounds like you're talking about some stuff that, man, you make it sound awful easy. It ain't easy. It's not, is it, Tim? Self-analysis and looking ourselves in the mirror and saying, what is it about my goods and services and my personality and who I am as a business owner, who I am as an individual? What is it about me that's going to want to make people refer me?
So
okay.
I'll let you finish that thought, Jim, and I've got something to add on to this.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
So I've got about a 6-hour seminar that I could do on this, or it's called the 3,000,000% Peer Advisory Program, that actually changes their mindset and their heart set to want to give referrals. All right. But the one thing that you have to have in common is you both have to want to grow your business. Okay.
Yep.
And what that looks like is the peer advisory program, where your business owners, entrepreneurs, and professionals that learn from one another's victories, challenges, and experiences. So how I did that was through what I call the 3,000,000% process of deepening relationships quickly, elevating your profile within the community, leveraging networks, building credibility, and establishing community. You say, well, gosh, that sounds like a lot to explain to somebody. It can be, but if you invite them into a growth group with you, then you're, again, instead of being a seller buyer, you're moving in the same direction towards business growth, and you will come together in trust, right? And actually, this whole program is designed to create referral generation. So just like Jim says, he's a connector. I don't believe that. Jim is about 2 levels higher than what I would call a connector, right? He's like the ultimate, which would be an influencer. So I believe there are connectors that make one-off transactional connections. There are transformers that connect connectors to one another. And then there are influencers that connect transformers to one another. Okay. So those are my words. I know influencer is something different in social media, but that's how I perceive that hierarchy, right? So what you're doing is you're being a connector. You say, hey, you know what? I know you're interested in growing your business. I know how to help. I know some people that can help us do that. And so you invite them into what this community is, where we help one another grow. And so then instead of it being one person trying to help this business grow, it's 77 right now that come to know, like, and trust that person and help with referral generation. But all we're doing is applying that Ziegler quote: you can have everything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want, right? So we got to help them get referral generation, and then they will actually become an avid, loyal referral generator for you, and usually a customer too.
Well, you know, there's a great reason that people should want to follow this advice, Tim, and it's real simple. There is no better way to grow your business. There's no better way to grow your business in a healthy, laying down a good foundation way than through referral marketing. Okay. If you wrote the advertising company a $10,000 check and they threw your information out there and they blasted it, your phone's going to ring for a few weeks. Okay. But is that going to be a good foundation? Is that going to be a hardy foundation, right? Referral marketing, you know, I love your book, you know, 3 million%. Well, what is the story behind that? Well, you went from 0 to 3 million. So that's 3 million% gain, right? I can't make that claim, but I have taken a market. I've been in a market before where we had 0 sales in fabric protection. And within just 12 months later, we had sold, you know, $327,000 worth of fabric protection. And this was not our primary business. This is what we refer to as an add-on service, right? So I've only done 375,000%, but it was done with referrals. It was done with referrals. Now, I will tell you this. You ready for this one? I don't know what your profit margin on that $3 million was, Tim, but my profit margin on that 375,000 was about 72%. Giddy up. That's a nice little profit margin, right? Yeah, that's a game changer when you realize the profit margin is much higher. The point being, referral marketing, getting people to buy into who you are and what you are and how you do this is the key to everything. So if you want good referrals, give good referrals. If you want to receive, give. And so that's why it's so much more important to think about that. Why am I giving an impactful referral? Because I want to receive an impactful referral, right?
Yep.
I love that. I feel compelled to recognize those that have given referrals, express gratitude publicly. Let me tell you something, man. If you guys want to see Jim Bardwell back in the day, go on my Facebook page, scroll back 4 or 5 years when I was beating the streets of Nashville, applying my referral marketing trade. Valentine's Day, some people might go to Walmart and buy chocolates, right? Some people might spend a bit more money, maybe go to the Godiva chocolate store and get some chocolate hearts and give those out and thank those referrals. Let me tell you what I did, man. I made homemade Valentine cookies and wrote by hand the name of all of my top referral agents, right? Didn't spend a lot of money, but I spent a lot of time. And people realized that. They said, wait a minute, these are homemade cookies. And that's my name, handwritten in red icing on that cookie, on that heart, right? To this day, that's 6-7 years ago I was doing that. To this day, the company that I was representing, Tim, they're still making money off those referrals. Those companies that I went and built that relationship with, guess what? They're still handing those people money right now, and I'm long gone. I've left the building, okay? So what is the most impactful way to give great referrals? Here's an exercise. How about they do this, Tim? How about everybody on this call or listens in the future? Why don't you sit down and take a pencil or a pen and write out what would be your dream referral? What would an impactful referral look like to you? What would a meaningful referral look like to you? And I mean, flesh it out, full color, right? As long as you want, man. I mean, make it the most beautiful referral, right? And you go out and give referrals just like that.
There you go. That ought to do it. Well, I don't see any other questions coming in. We're happy to take some, but any final thoughts? We're at just about time. Got about 4 minutes to go. I think we've covered a lot of ground.
We did. We covered, what's that old saying down in Texas, man? We covered some real estate, didn't we?
Yeah, we sure did. Yeah, if y'all have any more questions, feel free to ask us. And actually, you can continue the conversation even after we stop the live airing of the show. And so this is a recorded show, so you can continue in the comment section, and we can continue talking about it and discussing how better to do this. So, and then there might be some others that add to that are getting to watch this later. So keep an eye on it. Thank you all for joining us, and thank you for asking your questions. We love doing this, and it just means so much to us to be able to give to you as well. Hey,
absolutely, Tim. My pleasure, man. I sure have a good time, and I look forward to it now every week. This is a highlight of my week.
Me too. Hey, real quick for you audience, talking about giving gifts and how much they could mean. Look on Jim's neck. As a thank you for joining me in the show, I made him a scarf mask as well. These are our COVID mask, I guess, but it sure does look a lot better than the ear-to-ear mask. But so I had to make him one too, just as a thank you. And so he got to wear that on a TV show the other night.
That's right.
And it was what was it?
It was the Huckabee Show.
The Huckabee Show.
That's
so
right.
He got to wear his scarf.
Yeah, I was wearing one of the actually, Tim, you correct yourself. You sent me 4 scarves. You sent me one in four different colors, and this wonderful handmade conch here. And yeah, I was on the front row at the Huckabee show filming, so you'll see me sitting there in the audience, a white shirt, big red scarf on, just smiling like a Cheshire cat.
But I thank you for being on the show with me, and I really appreciate all the feedback that you offer to our listeners.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure. I look forward to it every week, and can't wait to see everybody again next week.
That's right. Join us again soon. We'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.